So what I wanted to talk to you about this week with respect to our stewardship drive is an analysis of last year's pledging to give us a glimpse of the patterns of West Shore's giving and how we pledge. So what I've done, and I've put this up on the bulletin board, is that I've got breakdowns of how we pledged last year according to age group. So what you can see here is this is the under 40 group, and the total pledge income last year, or this year actually, was $13,650. For the 40 to 59-year-olds, it was just over $90,000. For the 60 to 79-year-olds, about $243,000. And for the 80 plus, it was $115,000. What I think is even more interesting is if we look at the pledge average, and that just means add up the numbers and divide by the number of pledges. For under 40s, the average pledge is just under $600. The average pledge 40 to 59 is $1,326. Here we get the big peak is at $2,451, and then it drops down to $2,022. So that made me wonder, are we different than other churches? Are we different than other Unitarian churches? So that sent me, given that I am a researcher, to the UUA website. And I looked at how we give compared to a number of other churches. And if you're interested in these data, they're up on the bulletin board. And so I compared our data for West Shore to St. Paul, Minnesota Unity Church. I compared us to Rochester, compared us to Columbus, Ohio, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Houston Emerson Church, and Houston First Church, because they're in the same kind of ballpark for total expenditures, size. And what I found is that of all of those churches, we're the lowest percentage of members pledging. So just to run some numbers, the highest percentage of members pledging is in St. Paul, Minneapolis, and they're at 82%. The next one is Houston First Church. Then we get down to Columbus is at 76%. Rochester's at 65%. We're at 58%. So if not everybody that could pledge is pledging, that's something that I think is important to point out. The other thing that I noticed is that the median for each age group is so much lower than the average for each age group. If our people that are in pledging units that are under the median just go to the middle 50th percentile, it's an increase, and that sums to $80,000, which more than covers this year's projected deficit of about $50,000. A good number is that 2/3 of the members should be pledging units. We currently have reported 547 members, and we have 316 pledge units reported. If we had 2/3 of our pledging units pledging, that would mean 365. So I'm just looking at it not as a way of getting anybody excited or guilty or worried. I realize we haven't done a very good job of analyzing how we give and what these patterns are. Because I believe, strongly believe, that once our members know what our giving patterns look like, then I think that we will be able to give more of our treasure to fund the values that this church expresses. This is my hope.